Hello guys and welcome back. In this video we will talk about how to do the respawning system so that our player can respawn after they die. Alright, so after they come into here and they die, they can respawn from the first position that they started to play from. Okay, let's see how we do this. Alright, so first of all what we want to do is to go to the BP ball mode. Alright, and then after that go to the event graph, and actually what we want to do is to create a new event which is gonna respawn our player. All right, so we want to right click and then type add custom event, add custom event, and then type let me come to here. All right, let me change the name and then change it to spawn player. Right, so spawn player is the name of this custom event. Hit compile and then hit save, and after that what we want to do, first of all let's check that in the kill player, when we kill the player after we do everything, alright, we will want to call that spawn player, alright, the custom event that we just created. So after we kill the player, after the lives has been decremented, we will want to call the spawn player so that the player will be spawned at its first position. All right, so hit compile and then hit save, and let's get back to the event graph. So let's see what we want to do with this spawn player. So we want to grab this pin, and then after that what we want to type is spawn actor from class. All right, spawn actor from class. So what this spawn actor from class does, all right, it's gonna spawn blueprint class in this position. All right, so because this node is a new node and we haven't studied it yet, so I want to show you what it actually is doing. All right, so don't do this, I'll just show you what this does. All right, let me go to where should I go, whatever it is. Actually, let me create a new blueprint. All right, let me go to the blueprint class and then create a new blueprint. I'm just gonna call it BP test. All right, don't do this. All right, you don't have to. I'm just gonna show you something. Okay, so in the event graph what we want to do is to say in the event begin play. All right, so whenever that BP test, let me put it into the screen, right? So whenever that BP test has been in the game, what we want to do in the event begin play, so in the first frame, what we want to do is to spawn actor from class. Right, so we want to spawn an actor from class. Which class do we want to spawn? Let me see, what do we have in here? Let's spawn a BP jump box. All right, so spawn BP jump box. Right, you can see that it's in here, BP jump box. At what position do you want to spawn it? Let's spawn it at, let me hit split struct pin and then take it a little bit up. Spawn transform location, let's just make the z-axis to be 50, right, and then hit compile and then save, and just let's test it out what it does. Right, one or more, okay, this is just fine. Okay, right now you can see that, right, this is gonna spawn a jump box at this location. Right, so this is just gonna spawn a blueprint at that position. You see that? It's gonna give me an error. So you see it was spawning a jump box in here. It's gonna give me an error because I did not hit compile on the BP ball mode, and that is just fine. Right, so let me close that one, and actually I want to where is it? I want to delete the BP test. All right, so let's start and continue what we were doing before. All right, so let me go to the BP ball mode again. So what we want to do is whenever we call that spawn player custom event, what we want to do is to spawn an actor from class. So what actor do you want? Is the BP ball pound. All right, we want to spawn a ball. All right, and then after that what we want to do, because the ball pound, all right, because it's a pound, all right, it's not a normal actor, so for the jump box we didn't have to do anything else. we only needed to, give it the transform and the position that it's going to be spawned at. But for the BP ball pound, because it's a pound class, all right, so that a player has to control it, it's a pound. So what we want to do in the instigator, you see that it's gonna say pound object reference. So what we want to do is grab it and then type get pound, all right, it's gonna get it to here, get player pound. All right, so we want to type get player pound, so it's gonna get the player pound of the first index. All right, so what this says is that this is a pound. Because it's a pound and not a normal actor, we will want to call the first pound, all right, the player that's gonna control this. All right, so after that, what we want to do is to give it a position that it is gonna spawn at. All right, so let me hit compile and then save. You see that it's gonna give me an error because we do not have a spawn transform. So we will have to make sure that we give it a spawn transform. So let me come to here. Where should we spawn our player? All right, where should we spawn our ball whenever it dies? A normal thing would be to spawn it at the first position. All right, so at the first position wherever it started. Okay, so what we could do is actually to select the player start and then get its location, get its rotation, and then type it in here, all right, in the split struct bin. But actually that is not a good thing. You know why? Because if whenever we moved our player start to another position, and then we would have to change everything again in here, which is not a good thing. Okay, so what we want to do is to, let me recombine the struct bin. We will want to get the transform of that player start. All right, we will want to get the transform of that player start and then give it into here, so that whenever we respawn our player, we will want to spawn at that position. Okay, so what we want to do is to actually in here, first of all, we will want to create a variable and then call it spawn position. Right, spawn position, and then make sure that it is variable type is a transform. Right, and then hit compile and save. And okay, let me give the spawn position to be here. Okay, and then hit compile and save so that the error will go. Okay, so we did not set the spawn position because we did not set it. It's gonna be 0 0 0 0 0 0, and obviously on the scale would be 1 1 1. That is just fine. Okay, so now we will want to make sure that the spawn position gets its transform values from the player start. So how do we do that? Alright, so there are a lot of ways in order to do this, but what I find it the best way so that we can manage to do some more things with it. So I'm trying to imagine the things that we will do in the next couple of videos. So that's why I found this way, so that we could do some more things with it on the later videos. Alright, this way is great, and I will show you why it is great in the next videos. Okay, so what we want to do is to go to the blueprints. All right, click that little arrow and then open the level blueprint. So what we actually are going to do is to open the level blueprint. All right, let me take it to here. We will want to open the level blueprint, and then we will want to, get that player start into the level blueprint, and in here we will want to call the BP ball mode and set its spawn position in the level blueprint. All right, so it is very easy. So what we want to do is in the map, we will want to click the player start. All right, and then grab the player start and then put it into the map. All right, put it into the level blueprint. Okay, hit compile and then save. Like that, you can see that the player start can be a blueprint. All right, can get into a blueprint, but you can see that we cannot get the player start and then put it into the BP ball mode. That is not a thing. Why? Because why could we do it on the level blueprint? Why can't we do it in the BP ball mode? Because I told you that this is a level, all right, and every level has its own blueprint. That's why, all right, everything in the level can be put into the level blueprint and then do our codings with them. All right, so we can put everything that we want in here. If we want to interact with them, all right, in any ways, we can put them into the level blueprint, and then we can change them in the BP ball mode or whatever other, you know, blueprint that we will want to use. All right, so let's go to the map blueprint, all right, the level blueprint. And what we actually want is, all right, let me take the player start to here, and actually what we want is to change the spawn position from the BP ball mode. Okay, so what we want to do is to right click in here and then type get game mode. All right, get the game mode, and then grab that and then type cast it to BP ball mode. And after that, let me connect those. What we want to do as the BP ball mode, we want to set spawn position. All right, we want to set the spawn position, and then grab that and connect those. And the spawn position, actually we should rename this to spawn transform, but that is just fine. Okay, what we want to do, because the spawn position is a transform, all right, it's a spawn transform. So what we want to do is to, in the player start, we want to get transform, all right, get actor transform. You see that? So get the actor transform and then put it in here. Okay, so all we did was that we got the player start and then we got its transform. So we got the transform of the player start in here, we got the values in here, and then we put it into the spawn position. So that spawn position now equals to this value. So wherever we put it right now, if we move it, if you rotate it, if you do whatever you want, all right, it's gonna always, all right, give it is value, give this value into the BP ball mode, all right, into the spawn position of the BP ball mode. So whenever we call the player start, all right, whenever we call the spawn player, actually it's gonna spawn the player at that position, all right, or the position of this player start, right? So let me take it back into here. All right, after that, what we want to do, let me hit compile and then hit save on the level blueprint, and then get out of the level blueprint. We don't need it anymore. So after we spawn the player, all right, well, after we spawn the ball, what we want to do is to give control back to the player, all right, because the player died, it cannot control the ball anymore. So after we create the ball, all right, we will want to give the control back to the player. All right, so what we want to do is to right click and then type possess. All right, oh, actually, yeah, we cannot type possess right now because this context sensitive is selected. So if this context sensitive is selected, it's gonna bring all of the related things, but we can deselect it to get all of the nodes on the Unreal Engine. All right, so this is not an important thing. All right, this is just, you know, for convenience reasons and in order to show you all of the things that you might need in here, but there are lots of things other than this, all right, which are hidden in the context sensitive. So if I deselect it, you see that the things will get much more, you know, larger. Okay, so what we want to type is, let me get back to top and then type possess. All right, so you can see that in here possess is in here because we deselected the context sensitive. All right, so select the possess and then grab it into here. And after that, what we want to do is to get the return value and then put it into the impound, so that we say that this actor that we have created is the pound. Right, we have created a pound, and also connect those. And after that, what we want to do is to give the control back to the player. Right, so the target should be the player that is gonna control it. Okay, so the target, grab it and then say get player controller. All right, get player controller of the index 0. So this is all it. Okay, so it's gonna call the custom event, and then the custom event is gonna create the ball in that position, and it is a pound for the first index. All right, it's a pound for the first player, and also we want to possess it to the first controller so that the player can control it. this is all it. Okay, so hit compile and then hit save, and let's test it out if that even works. All right, so let's go to the map and then play it, and you can see that. All right, so if I go down, our lives should be 2. Yeah, and we came back, and if I go down, we'll come back again, and we will come back again, and it goes to negative values which is not that great, but actually we did it. That is a great job. Okay, it goes on, and it was really frustrating that it was rotating in that direction. Let me make it, yeah, that is much better. Okay. We went to negative lives count, which is not a great thing, but we will make sure that we solve that problem in next videos. But actually what I want to do before we wrap up this video is when we die, we will want to, you know, have 1 or 2 seconds before we die in here. All right, so we'll have 1 or 2 seconds that we will be in here, and then we respawn, not die and respawn all immediately. All right, so what we want to do is to go to the BP ball mode, and after that what we want to do is to grab all of this and then take them aside, and after that in the spawn player we want to grab that and then type delay. All right, so that we will delay it for, how much should we delay it? Maybe 2 seconds is fine. All right, we want to delay it for 2 seconds and then hit compile and then save, and let's see if that works. Yeah, it's working, but it's not that great. Let me see what we could do. Okay, so imagine it like that. Whenever we come down and we wait for 2 seconds, what if our player is getting destroyed? All right, like a bomb or an explosion. All right, yeah, I think that will be great. Okay, so because we when we created our project in the first video, in the first couple of videos, I don't know what video was that, but because we created the project with starter content, all right, in the starter content, if you go to the particles, you can see that we've got an explosion, all right, which is like this. Okay, so I want to use that explosion, all right, like this whenever we die, right? I think that will be great, and you know, we can use that. Okay, so let's start doing that right now. All right, so what we want to do is to actually, where should we put it? Yeah, what we want to do is to put it into the kill player. All right, so whenever we kill the player, before we destroy the player, all right, before we destroy the ball, we will want to, you know, get the explosion and then destroy the player. All right, so what we want to do is to grab that pin and then type spawn particle. All right, you can see that we don't have spawn particle, but we've got spawn emitter at location. We don't want attached. Okay, we want spawn emitter at location. Actually, particle systems are, because they are emitters, so sometimes they are called emitters. All right, so spawn emitter at location. All right, select that and then put it in here. And what emitter do we want to spawn is the explosion. Oh, sorry, what did I type? Okay, the explosion. All right, and at what location should we spawn it? We can get the location from the ball. All right, so after that, what we want to do is to grab the pin from the player ball. What we want to type is to get sphere location, right? Get world location of the sphere. All right, and by the way, if you could not get that get sphere location, all right, get the world location of the sphere, what you want to do is to actually just close the BP ball mode and then open it up. Sometimes it's not gonna work. I don't know why, but sometimes it's not gonna update. So if something did not update in your code, what you want to do is only just, you know, close it and then open it up, and it should work. All right, so the first time I did this, it did not work. so I had to close it and then open it up so that I could get these nodes. All right, the reason that we want to get the sphere's location, not the location of the player ball, is that, all right, so whenever we start our game, if I open the BP ball pawn and go to the viewport, what we want to do is actually, because our ball pawn has a default scene route, so that will stay in here, but the ball goes and moves around because the sphere is moving around. So that's why we want to get the location and the position of the ball, not the ball pawn. All right, we want to get the position of the sphere because our ball is called a sphere in here. I don't know the reason. I think it was the default name. Okay, yeah, we don't want the default scene route, we want the sphere. So that's why we are going to want the location of the sphere. All right, so we will want to get the world location of the sphere, and then after that put that location into the location of the spawn emitter. And also we will want a sound, which I think that explosion should have a sound, maybe. So grab that pin and then type spawn sound at location. Yeah, that one, spawn sound at location. So it should be, I think it should be explosion. Yeah, you see that we've got also the explosion queue, so just select the explosion queue and then grab the get world location and put it in there as well. So that should work all totally fine. What we only did is to get the sphere's location and then put it into the explosion location and also the spawn sound location, and everything else just stayed the same. All right, hit compile and then hit save, and let's see if we did not forget to do anything. No, I think it should be fine. All right, so let me see if that works. All right, I think the sound is, let me see, the sound was really high. So what we want to do is to, let me go to the content. I might not find it, so I'm going to the content folder and then type a search in here, type explosion. Right, so the explosion queue, that was the thing that we used. Go to the explosion queue, and in here in the volume multiplier, make sure it is, I don't know, what should I put, 0.25. Yeah, I think that should be much better. Okay, let me play it. Yeah, maybe. All right, hit save, and then let's see if that works. Let me save that one as well. I don't know why, but I save everything a lot. All right, so hit play, and then let's see if that works. Yeah, I think this is much better than the other one. All right, without having an explosion or anything, dying just like that, destroying, and this is much better, right? Boom. Okay, so right now you can see that we can get even to negative thousands of lives, which is not a cool thing. And also we won't die with our health that drops into 0, which is not a cool thing, but we will make sure that we will solve these two problems in the next videos. I think in the next video we might solve them. All right, so guys, this was it for this video. I hope you learned something new today. I hope that I could help again. So tell me what you think and what you want to be added into the videos so that I can put it in the next upcoming videos. It will be great to know your suggestions. Alright guys, until the next video, keep learning, be safe, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.